And welcome back to episode 2 of Gwent Chats, where I just pretty much take a sit down once a week and just sort of talk to you guys about pretty much the game of Gwent. And also, like, this is also where I'm gonna be mixing in, like, you know, experiences and like all that other stuff that I've been going through a week. So I mean, I like to call it Gwent News because it will be mostly Gwent, but like there might be some IRL stuff that might be mixed in there because, to be perfectly honest, my life is my life. Whether, like, I know I like to split it between my personal life and my content life, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like all under me, right? I'm just like still the same person regardless of what I go to in front of a camera versus off camera. So this week has been particularly interesting in a sense, and honestly the interesting part really came into like the last few days, to be perfectly honest, because for those of you who did not get to see, I did recently actually cast a tournament, and it was a tournament that actually there was money on the line, there were prizes on the line, so it wasn't like a sort of in-house tournament, kind of like what me and Zubi do cast when we do it for Team Bandit Gang, the esports I represent. But this was for the Filipino community, and this tournament was being run by Tweedledum D. She is I don't know what she's doing nowadays. I know she plays a lot of Genshin Impact, and I know that game's a lot of fun, which is the reason why I don't play Genshin Impact, because I know I'm gonna get addicted to it. But she's really a great person, really great to work with, and I know we have a fun time whenever we like do co-ops or like we talk about just gaming Gwent together and stuff like that. So yeah, so she organized this tournament. And the idea behind that tournament was actually, it was meant to sort of, I wouldn't say boost sort of the, I wouldn't say popularity of Gwent, but like, you know, just to sort of get Gwent more active in the Filipino community again. And of course, with this tournament being like such a niche tournament, and it wasn't like the most well received by people who were hoping to participate in the tournament. Unfortunately, the thing is, I signed on as a caster and as a caster only, so like I really didn't want to give an opinion as to what I thought about stuff like this. At this, like, there's kind of two sides to it, right? The one side is I'm actually kind of happy, because that could be a bit of bias because I am also Filipino myself, that more and more Filipinos are starting to play Gwent. Which honestly I think is good. Like, it gets more faces onto the scene. We also sort of expand a bit. I know I live all the way across the world in Canada, but still, you know, like there's always that bit of you where it's like, you know, you represent your country if you're born in it, even if like you move somewhere else. I don't know, it's just like that race pride or something. I mean, it is what it is. Everyone's gonna have it. They like to represent the place where they were born and like sort of where their bloodline is. And don't even try to dispute it, because I know those of you that might try to dispute it are gonna feel the exact same way. So don't even try that with me. But yeah, like, I mean, overall, the tournament was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun casting it with two people who aren't as familiar with the Gwent scene in terms of like what decks are prominent on ladder and like, you know, decks that people tend to play. Because a lot of the decks that people brought in this tournament actually were decks that we found in the meta, like we would find in the meta on a daily basis. So we were looking at decks like V, we were looking at, you know, Colgrim based decks. We saw a couple of Red Raim's list on the tournament. So that sort of gave me like a bit of a easier time, sort of just free flowing the motions, because the narrative is kind of the same for like how to counter decks like those. So for example, with V, you need to be able to deal with the consume units, because you don't want V going out of control with the amount of consumes that they can give you. The overwhelming hunger charges are just going to be there to stay regardless, unless you're playing a lockdown deck, in which case you can completely just limit the amount of power V is going to get from being consumed if you can control all of the engines on their side of the field. When we're talking about, like, for example, Northern Realms, a good way to counter it usually is Skellige, because they have so many cards that can ping the shields off. So like one ping from like a Brockvar Hunter to like a shielded Temerian Drummer, you combo it with a stunning blow, and then it just eliminates the Temerian Drummer, which will actually give a lot of value in a long round. So, you know, if you can control the engines on the Northern Realm side of the field, then they won't gain as much value as the round progresses. So it's like narratives like that are kind of similar, and I know that the people I was casting with, they're both also Filipino. They both have casted, I believe, in the SEA games. So like, you know, the Southeast Asia games for like Dota, for, you know, like the more popular games out in Asia. I'm not familiar with it, of course, considering I am living across the world, but still, It was good to sort of get to talk to them and sort of give them a bit of insight as to, you know, what's going on the grander side of things when it comes to the Gwent meta and what's going on right now. And of course, the fact that I've started playing more Gwent since the release of the expansion actually also helped a lot in sort of getting that experience and getting that insight to be able to share my thoughts and opinions on the games that were going on. So yeah, we were actually, like, I was personally surprised that Tweedle was able to actually not just get a response, but like also Ryan to agree to give a prize pool to the top 3 placements, in addition to, of course, money in peso, which is the currency of the Philippines. So yeah, so I mean, if you guys have seen me cast in the past with Zoobs in Team Bandit Gang in-house tournaments, I wouldn't say it's like, I mean, we like to have a fun time, you know, we like to chill, we like to, you know, talk with chat, because, you know, that's why we stream it, right? So we get live interaction with you guys. Otherwise, we could just record this and just put it on YouTube. But to get that interaction with chat is always pretty fun. Not to mention they can give their own insights as well. But in a tournament setting like this, where it was more just like the casters just talking to each other and just presenting it, I just feel that that's a different sort of setting for me. And personally, I don't really have a preference as to which one I prefer. I like doing both, to be honest, but I discovered that maybe casting might be something I could look into potentially doing in the future. Whether it's something I will actively pursue or not sure. Probably not. Maybe I'll just do it for stuff like this, like, you know, whenever there's like, I wouldn't say an opening, but if there's an opportunity, I'm definitely not one to pass it on. I am definitely going to give it a shot, if of course, you know, it meets the time requirement, because when this tournament was happening in the Philippines, it was like 10 p.m. here it starts, and then it finished at like 3 a.m. I believe, or like 3:30 a.m. And I wanted to cap off at 2 a.m. because I had to go to sleep, so unfortunately I could not cast the finals. But if you guys are watching this video and was there at Tweedle's Twitch channel to watch me cast, then thank you so much for dropping by and watching. Hopefully you guys like the the casting, because I know it was a different type of casting that I had to do there in terms of the insight that I had to give and all that stuff. So that's sort of like my take on the whole casting experience, and like, you know, in terms of like running the tournament, that's something that I don't know if I want to get into, like hosting a tournament of my own in the future, just because I see so much work that the people who organize this tournament put into these things. And honestly, like, just a lot, giving a lot of credit to those people who, you know, host the tournaments, because I know how much work goes into this. I know sometimes they just can't do it by themselves, so especially if they get help, it's also good to know that, you know, they're reaching out, asking people for help, because, you know, it takes a big group of people, I should say, to run a tournament. It's very hard to have only one person run it, not to mention with prizes on the line. So it's like a bit more on the serious side in terms of, you know, how people were playing, which obviously makes sense, because again, money was on the line and stuff, so you want to bring the strongest decks, bring your best playstyles and stuff. We did see a couple of homebrews, so that was actually a lot of fun to cast as well. It's quite funny and not surprising at all that I only got to cast one V match. Only one. Because that deck won. And I think I casted 2 Precision Strike Scoia'tael games. It's quite funny how Scoia'tael and Monsters were always the most banned factions in that tournament. Of course, that makes sense. You have to put respect on those names. No matter how much you hate playing against those decks, you have to put respect in them because of how much power they can put onto the field at a short round. So that's going to be everything I have on, or everything I want to say on sort of my experience with casting in Gwent in general. And I kind of want to just move on to just a general channel update. Again, every week it's just going to be like how I've been doing in the past week and such. A deck guide was posted on Sunday. It was just me playing around with Imprisonment, Assimilate combo, just because we know that Imprisonment is a leader ability that's never used, and for good reason. It's just way too slow of a card. It is sort of good for a control style based deck, but I think the amount of charges only at 2, being only able to lock 2 engines, is kind of slow. Not to mention it's counterintuitive with cards like Vatier and Vanhamar, because Vanhamar wanting to destroy locked units, if you damage it by 3 before playing Vanhamar on it, then it's kind of not worth. And of course, with Vatier wanting to steal, you want the unit to be the higher power. The higher the power, the more value you get with a Vatier steal, you know? So obviously imprisonment needs a bit of a rework. I like that. I think the reason why they brought it back in the first place, my guess, is because, you know, it was the old Radovid from the beta days. So, you know, it's always good to see those kinds of nostalgia abilities or cards coming back. But, you know, we have to look, you know, just looking at sort of the state of the game and, you know, how much better it could work. It could potentially need a rework or a bit of a tweak. I guess we'll see what they do with it, but I would like to see imprisonment see some work. And also, in terms of updates, I have done a couple of videos, not updates. So videos for Saturdays. So remember, as I stated last week, Saturday is going to be more of a just sort of my personal interest kind of thing. I wouldn't say vlog per se, because obviously I can't go out, but it's like non-Gwent related content. So like whatever game I feel like playing or whatever video I feel like doing, that's what I'm gonna do. I feel like if I just do Gwent all the time, I already have sort of a set schedule of streaming, you know. I say sort of because sometimes things come up and like events start to happen, and sometimes I forget to post it on Twitter and Discord, which, by the way, if you aren't following me, be sure to go follow me on Twitter. So, you know, I'm gonna start doing more of these updates and making it seem more of like a regular thing, so that you guys know when to catch me on Twitch and when to expect videos on YouTube. I feel like these kinds of videos, the Thursday uploads on the Gwent Chats, is, I think it's just because like these are not the hardest videos to produce, whereas like when I'm doing the Gwent classroom, those ones take a bit more time because I have to do quite a bit of editing on my part. But I wonder if I'm gonna make a couple of changes or two to make it more smooth and a bit quicker to have it prepared for upload. So that's gonna be like the full extent. And yeah, of course. So oh yeah, and one more thing, since it is New Year's coming up, I am taking a bit of a holiday break in terms of like the YouTube stuff. Twitch, I'll still be around, still be streaming nightly. So like this is usually the time where I actually finish a stream. But unfortunately, because I did the casting just like last night, and I'm still a little bit exhausted from, you know, like 5 to 6 hours of like chatting and just like casting the game, I wanted to take a bit of a break. So we will be back again with more Twitch streams tomorrow and just playing around with some more decks. And other than that, expect an upload coming up on Saturday and an upload coming up on Sunday. I believe Sunday is going to be a deck guide upload, which I'll have that prepared for you. And Saturday is going to be a sort of outside of Gwent. I call it the Saturday Night Adventures, aka also probably Saturday Night Party. I don't know which way how I want to name that yet, but we'll see how things go. So that's going to do it for episode 2 of Gwent Chats. Hope you guys found this informative and I wouldn't say entertaining because it's more information, but if you guys did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like on this video, of course, and subscribe if you guys want to check out some more content from Wa. And other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is Enzo signing out.